Hey there and welcome. So you're in IT support, right? You're closing tickets, you're solving problems day in and day out. But have you ever stopped to think about what's next? Like what's the real career path here? Today, we're going to talk about exactly that, how to go from just being a good agent to becoming a truly indispensable ace. Let's get right into it.
So let's kick things off with a pretty big question. I mean, you're great at what you do, right? You solve the problems, you close the tickets, and you keep your users happy. That's the baseline for being a good agent. But what's that secret ingredient, you know? The thing that takes you from just being good to being absolutely great. What's the real difference between just having a job and actually building a career?
Well, here it is. The answer is, it's about understanding the manager's perspective. I know, it might sound simple, but this is the real game changer. It means looking past that one single ticket on your screen and starting to see the bigger picture. We're talking about the strategy, the budget, the high-level goals. Once you get that, you're not just an agent anymore, you're a strategic asset. And that's the key to making yourself indispensable.
All right, so to really get inside a manager's head, you've got to know their playbook. So in this first part, we're going to do just that. We're going to crack it open and look at the core ideas that really drive every single decision a support manager has to make.
Everything, and I mean everything, starts with the mission statement. And look, I get it. That might sound like a bunch of corporate jargon you see on a motivational poster. But trust me, it's not. It's actually the North Star for the entire support team. It's the guiding light that tells everyone, from the brand new hire all the way up to the CEO, exactly what we're trying to do and why our work is so important.
There's this quote from Alice in Wonderland that just nails this idea perfectly. Alice asks which way she should go, and the Cheshire Cat says, "That depends a good deal on where you want to get to." And that's it, right? Without a mission, a team is just wandering aimlessly. Sure, you're moving, but you're not moving toward anything specific. The mission statement is what gives you that destination, that critical sense of direction.
Okay, so if the mission is the what you want to achieve, then the budget is the how. It's the nuts and bolts, the financial blueprint. It's what takes all those great-sounding goals and turns them into a concrete plan with actual dollars and cents attached. This is where the mission gets real.
So, where does all that money actually go? Well, have a look. The biggest slice of that pie by a long shot is almost always personnel costs. Yep, that means salaries, benefits, training. It's an investment in you. And that is why your manager is so focused on things like performance and efficiency. The team is the company's biggest investment, and they need to see a return on it.
So that leads to a big question. How do managers figure out exactly how many people they need on the team? It's not just guesswork. There's actually a science to it. They use specific formulas, and one of the key terms you might hear is Erlang. Now, you don't need to be a math whiz, but just know it's a unit for measuring the amount of work, or traffic, coming in. It's how they make sure there are just enough agents to handle the calls without anyone being totally overwhelmed or totally bored.
But of course, it's not all about the math. A spreadsheet can't tell you everything. Managers have to weigh a bunch of other practical things too. Like what kind of incidents are we even talking about? Is it a massive volume of quick password resets? Or is it a lower number of really complex, time-consuming issues? And what's the experience level of the staff? A team of senior aces is different than a team of new hires. All these details really shape that final decision.
Okay, so we've pulled back the curtain on the manager's playbook. Now the big question is, how can you use all this to actively build your own career, right? Let's talk about the concrete steps you can take to seriously level up.
All right, first up, you absolutely have to understand how your performance is measured. Because at the end of the day, it really comes down to data. Your manager is looking at stats, things like your average response time, your first call resolution rate, and of course those user satisfaction surveys. Once you know what's being tracked, you can laser focus your efforts on the things that really define success in your role.
Now, if you're looking for one of the most powerful ways to get ahead, let's talk about certifications. This isn't just about learning new things. It's about getting a formal, official document that proves what you know. It's a credential. It validates your skills and tells your current manager, and frankly, any future employer, that you are a certified expert.
And when you start looking into certifications, you'll see they basically fall into two main camps. On one side, you have vendor-specific certs. These make you an expert on a particular company's products, like Microsoft or Cisco or Apple. On the other side, you've got industry-standard or vendor-neutral certifications. Think CompTIA A+, or Network+. These give you that core knowledge that applies no matter what systems you're working on. There's no single right answer here. The best path for you really depends on your own career goals.
Okay, I get it. The whole idea of a certification exam can sound pretty intimidating. But honestly, the process is way more straightforward than you might think. You can really break it down into 4 simple steps. 1, you acquire the knowledge. You do the learning. 2, you take a practice test to see if you're ready. 3, you go take the real exam. And 4, if you stumble on a section, it's not the end of the world. You can usually retake just that part. See? When you lay it out like that, it feels a lot less scary and a lot more doable.
So why bother with all that studying and test taking? Well, because the payoff can be absolutely huge. A certification acts as a clear benchmark of your skills. It gives your manager a concrete, undeniable reason to justify a pay raise or a promotion for you. Plus, it shows that you're putting in the effort to stay current in a field that's always changing. And honestly, it's just a great source of professional pride. It feels good to be certified.
Okay, so you've got the skills. You're racking up certifications. What else is there? Well, this is the final piece of the puzzle. This is what elevates you from just being a highly skilled technician into a true professional. And it's all about community, conduct, and character.
A really big part of this is joining a professional association. You can think of it as finding your tribe within the industry. These organizations are awesome. They offer tons of training, incredible networking opportunities, and, this is the crucial part, they establish a shared code of ethical conduct. It's a formal set of principles that defines what it means to be a professional in IT.
And believe me, that code of conduct isn't just something you read once and forget about. It gets tested in the real world. So picture this. A coworker, someone you really like, comes to you and asks for a small favor. They want you to use your admin access to look up some personal info in the HR database. There's no ticket for that. It's not in any procedure manual. What you do in that exact moment, well, that decision speaks volumes about your professional character.
This is exactly where having a clear ethical framework becomes so important. For example, you could think about the 10 commandments of computer ethics. One of them, number 3, is thou shalt not snoop around in other people's computer files. Well, that gives you a pretty direct answer to our scenario, doesn't it? Having clear principles like these to fall back on gives you a map for navigating those tricky gray areas. Ultimately, this is the very bedrock of professional trust.
So as we wrap things up, I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. Your technical skills are what get you in the door. Understanding the manager's perspective is what will help you climb the ladder. But in the long run, it's the ethical standards you decide to live by that's what will truly define your reputation. That's what builds your legacy as a real pro. So the question is, what will your standard be?